Another episode of the Randy Wilson podcast. This is episode 69, interestingly, today. And I have nobody other than Mecca with us. Mecca Williams. How you doing, Mecca?
Hey, Randy, I'm fine on this great evening. I'm doing well.
Glad to have you on the show. This is, again, episode 69. This is the Randy Wilson podcast. You can find this podcast everywhere that podcasts are played, except SoundCloud. And I'm so tired of saying except SoundCloud. I'm just gonna, it's a big issue right now between SoundCloud and I don't know what the problem is. And I'm also gonna stop promoting all these other platforms where you can hear my podcast, because you can go over to randywilsonpodcast.com. Also, I own that domain, and check me out. You can also follow me on Randy Wilson Podcast on Instagram as well. But again, today I'm really excited about our guest today. Really excited about our guest. I have had people, request you, Mecca. I want to make sure you understand this. Like, you have been a person that people have wanted to hear me talk to, and I'm excited because your Instagram lives are very engaging. For those of you who don't know, let me not mess this up. She's a licensed professional. Now, are you a licensed professional counselor? Which I think you are. Okay. Yes. For those of you who don't know, I didn't want to disrespect her and call her a licensed clinical social worker. So she's a licensed professional counselor. She is fashion extraordinaire. Again, I said it recently in the interview and I posted it. I think she's the most fashion influential person in this region of Virginia that we live in. And I want to talk to her about that because I'm really curious and interested about what her influences are. But one of the things that I'm really interested in this conversation, Mecca, is that with your background in counseling and with the involvement that you have, across the city. Again, we are in Richmond today. For those of you who are listening in who may not be familiar where we are, we're in Richmond. Mecca, I believe, is in Petersburg. Are you in Petersburg still?
Yeah, I live in Richmond. I'm just from Petersburg.
She's from Richmond, from Petersburg in Richmond. Yeah, but I see you as a very influential person in a lot of ways in regard to how you have an impact on culture. And so in this conversation today, it's going to be a little different than some of my conversations. Obviously, I ask a lot of questions and I'm going to ask some questions, but I think that you're going to bring a unique perspective to dialogue about worldly things and the time that we're in right now. And with you having a background that you do, but also being engaged in society as you are, I'm really interested in people being able to hear your perspective. As you said before the interview, you're usually the one asking the questions.
Yep.
So today we're going to hear from you.
This always makes me a little nervous when I'm on a platform where I'm answering questions because it's weird. Believe it or not, no one really asks me questions. They ask me questions in reference to resource, but just not questions about my thoughts on things. Mm-hmm. I usually have a conversation about it, or it just doesn't get talked about.
Well, we're definitely going to do that today. Okay, we're definitely going to do that today. Before we get into the conversation too deep, for those who are listening, who have short attention spans and want to go ahead and know where they can find you, please share your information in regard to where they can find you.
Okay, so on Instagram, you can find me at Mecca Presents with a S at the end, Mecca Presents. On Twitter, at Mecca Presents. And on Facebook, Mecca Williams.
There you go. Hey, this show is being sponsored today by no money at all, but a great, interesting pickup I got in Sheets a few minutes ago, okay? Have you had this?
Oh, it's good. It's great.
It's interesting. Yes. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick this up. It's good. It's 19 crimes. Cali Red. For some reason, they got some things blocked out. But what I look for when I pick up a bottle of wine, even though I thought, let me see what Snoop Dogg is doing on this bottle of wine, right? What I look for is how strong it is. And it's 14%. So I'm like, okay, this seems like this might be a go. And when I picked it up, I'm not going to lie. When I picked it up, I thought it said $9. I was like, sure, I'm going to go ahead and grab this. It was $19. I got up to the register. I was like,
what?
Hey, all right, it better be good. It better be good. I thought I was picking up some barefoot or something.
You stupid. What you think?
Oh, I love it. It's good.
It's a perfect blend. It's not sweet. It's not too dry. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is. Perfect
It's
for
so
a perfect night of conversation.
exactly. I'm jealous.
So you should have had your wine.
You should have sent me the memo. I would have went to the store and got me a bottle of that same wine.
Listen,
I really gave you like my thoughts on it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do that on IG Live when we go promote this. Let's do that.
All right.
Deal?
Okay. We'll do that.
We'll do that. So my first question, Mecca, let's get right out to it, okay? Like you embody Black, you embody hip hop, you embody fashion, you embody strength and power. I mean, these are things that I see. When I see or think of you, these are the things I think about. Okay. So I'm interested like in like what contributed to you being who you are, like inspirations, like where did the inspirations come from that contributed to your whole makeup?
Oh my God. So a long story, you know, because I'm old. But first, before I get into answering your question, thank you. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I mean, you're very, humble, modest, kind. It's easy to notice. It speaks. I mean, it speaks before your words come out. You don't have to say anything. When you walk in the room, I think you glow it up. So, I'm interested in what contributed to that. Like, was this all in the ingredients of mama and daddy raising you, or like?
Absolutely. So when you talk about Black and strong and all the other adjectives, just how I show up, it started when I was a kid. I grew up in a household that was super Black. My mom was hell bent on, like putting me in environments where I was learning about Black culture, things that I wasn't learning in the school setting. She got involved with some people that were really involved in the culture, and I was exposed. I was going to Kwanzaa every year, just all those things. So that helped cultivate my Blackness, especially growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s in Petersburg. I mean, it was 99, 98% African-American. However, that cultural piece was kind of missing. It was there a little bit, but it was just missing, especially in the education setting. So it was definitely the household. The strong piece, that was a makeup of just my experiences over time. Just my religious experiences. Grew up raised by a single mom, and she displayed lots of strength. So I kind of picked that up from her too. I came from a family on my father's side. They were Black business owners. So that's another thing that helped embody. They were also Muslim. Some of them were. That also helped embody just Blackness. And I was seeing Black people doing great things growing up. So just all that type of stuff.
So for those who are listening, particularly people who are not Black, okay, they may wonder like, where is he coming from with how he specifies Black, and why does he identify Black? And I say that for those who may wonder is because I think that when you show up, it appears that you show up with intention. I mean, I think that when I look at the clothes that you wear, and I look at the colors, and I look at how you wear them, and how you, I mean, I've seen you wear things that my perception has changed on behalf of how I may have seen that, before. So I think that you're intentional. It appears to me that in how you move. And so there's context for those who are listening in regard to why I said that. And because you can speak without opening your mouth. And I think with your platform, with how you showcase clothing, and how you just show up, period, it provides an example for all people, quite frankly, younger and older, Black, white, brown, it doesn't matter. But particularly, I think it's an example for younger females, particularly, to give them the example, and to possess the confidence in them that they can also show up, show out, and present themselves the way they uniquely desire to do so. So that's something to me that stands out about you.
So it's funny you say that. I get, people my age who have kids and like maybe teenagers or tweens. They have sons and daughters. They always give me either DM or see me in person and say, I showed my son your Instagram the other day. I showed my daughter your Instagram the other day. I hear that all the time. Like, and it's like, what? Like, and people tell me they do that. So, you know, whatever their child is going through, however they want to express their style, it gives them inspiration. Like, look at her, look at this adult, she's doing her thing. Mm-hmm. I have those images around them. So she's doing something that's outside of what the crowd says do. She's doing her own lane. And I think that is important for young people to see. I think it's important for everyone to see, actually.
Yeah, and then they recognize that you're also a licensed professional counselor.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. And I mean, and you know, I think that, you know, I'm in the counseling world as well. And so, like, I remember when I first came out of college. When I first came out of college and I got a job, I hadn't had a haircut in years. Like, believe it or not, years. I could show you a picture one day. Okay. Years. I had like a lot of hair. Okay. And I had a lot of hair, but I needed to cut it because one day I looked up through the sun and I was looking in the mirror and I realized that it was just real light. It was kind of thinning in here. It was long, but I could see right through it. So that's when I decided to cut it. My first boss, though, all right? My first boss, she had dreads to the floor. Her name was Terry Pendleton is her name. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's a licensed professional counselor as well. And it was an example for me. I was thinking like, so I went to college in Southwest Virginia, like 98% white folks. So like how they conditioned me to think how I was supposed to approach the professional world. They had me brainwashed temporarily for a minute. They really did. I didn't realize that I could go into these spaces the way that I was. But I sing that. And so I share that with you as an example because I think that a lot of people can misjudge somebody. I think people can look at you and they can think, she's a model or she's a designer or she, you know, there's a lot of things they could say. But until they actually have a conversation with you and they recognize and see the depth, they may be completely blindsided in how you can impact their life, you know, from a mental health standpoint or probably even from a spiritual standpoint. So to me, that embodies like the true professional. And I think that's another area where you're an example because you're showing people how you can be diverse. Mm-hmm. So kudos to you. Now, who are your fashion influences?
I'll talk about who and what. So I'm influenced by a lot of things. I'm influenced by movies. I'm influenced by nature. I can see colors in nature. I'm like, ooh, that's like a flower. The flower would be pink and yellow and purple. I'm like, ooh, I never thought about that color combination. Let me go see if I can put that together. But as far as people that I look at, and I'm like, oh, I'm watching you, want to see what you have on. Pharrell.
Yeah.
I love Pharrell coming. It's just like
so if you like Pharrell, how do you feel about his wife's fashion?
Well, I barely see the wife, but I like her fashion too. I like both of them together. I love it. I swoon over a style couple, a stylist. She has a dope flex too, but I don't really see pictures of her. But when I would see out and about, she had her thing going on. I like how they play with gender. Like, you know, like they do androgyny really well. You know, it's like Pharrell would have on maybe a kilt or something, and she would have on like more of a traditional masculine style suit looking thing. It's just dope.
Yeah,
I love it. I like crossing those lines and barriers. Who else do I like? Cam Newton style too.
Yeah,
I like Cam. Like he, not all the things, but overall, his stylist does a great job in capturing what he's into. The hats, the shorts, and the long socks, and the polos, and the button down. It's just like it's fabulous.
So let me ask you this. I recognize his style. He was a Panther. That's where I'm from. Okay. So for a minute, you know, I had a connection with him. But objectively, right? I never found his style to be I never felt like he owned it. So for me, I look at it and I say, to me, he's like a commercial version of a style. And I'm only saying that from the standpoint because all of a sudden one day he just decided that he was going to take this lane. And I'm not knocking it, but I think I look at things for me. This is for me speaking. When I see when I see something that's all of a sudden, I'm watching, I'm wondering, okay, then what's the next change? Am I being too critical here of this? I mean, am I looking at too deep?
they got stylists. So I think all that happens is
I got you. I don't respect that. I have an issue with all that though. I mean, nothing wrong with the stylist.
Stylist has done is expose them to a little. I think Cam has this in him. I think that is authentic to what he wants to look like. Because he doesn't look like anything else and he rocks it. He doesn't seem to care. And so he has stylists that'll help. They're busy. So they need somebody to help lead the way and find the pieces. Mm-hmm. But I think definitely he approves of whatever he's wearing. He doesn't seem like a guy. I've seen him. So I look at a lot of fashion, some YouTube videos and stuff. And I've seen him. He had some type of podcast, whatever, and he was talking about his style and just they were talking. It was like him and some other stylists. All these athletes stylish now.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a bunch of stylish athletes talking about their style and things like that. And I think it's true to what he wants to do and how he wants to represent. You got to also remember, style evolves. So I don't expect people to remain like how they looked 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think for me, with him being a professional athlete and having a rocky time, I think I started looking at it past the style. I feel like he's going through this crisis right now,
Yeah, I don't I don't follow his sports. I don't know. He could be a horrible player. I would not know.
Now, he's a good player. He just hasn't been able to fully live up to his expectations, but he's a phenomenal athlete. And so, but when things started going left, you started seeing him express himself more in other ways. And so I think and then also when money starts coming in, money starts coming in.
You might be onto something though about how you started seeing when things was going left in his career, you start seeing this change.
Yeah. So I think so that's where I kind of struggled at buying into the new Cam Newton. But again, nevertheless, I wish I had some of the things in this closet. Quite frankly, I wish I had some of the things in your closet. I would wear some of the things in your closet too.
You are silly. Also, back to I like Trinidad James. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a Trinidad James like fanatic when it comes to his style. I'm always peeking and looking at what he's doing as far as like old school stuff. As far as influencing Sandra Clark from 227, Peg Bundy.
Peggy Bundy?
Oh my God, yes.
Really?
Peg Bundy. Love. Rand, if you pay attention, I'm all over the place with my style. So I have, you see how I went from like these dudes, and then I'm talking about Peg Bundy. Peg Bundy wore a lot of 50s pinup girl looks. I love pinup girl. I love that. Hands down. That's like one of my favorite styles. I don't always do it, but I love it, respect it. I think it's just ultra feminine.
You can get away with everything, can't you?
Yeah, let me tell it. Absolutely. I mean, I stay with stuff that looks good on me, that fits my body. I'm not out like, I'm not trying to get with all the trends because everything is not for me, but I veer to what things are for me. I make it work.
Do you shop in vintage stores?
Sometimes. That's not a thing.
It's not a thing for you though?
It's not I don't go out and like, hey, I'm going to shop at the vintage stores, but I have friends that they thrift and they have businesses and they sell vintage items and I usually buy from them.
Gotcha.
I'll like, if I'm in Carytown, I might stop into Bygones because I do like Bygones. As far as vintage, I'm not like, that's not, I like it. I love it actually, but I'm not out looking. I don't have time.
And it's crazy expensive too. It's ridiculous expensive at times. So you buy what you like. Is that fair to say?
I buy what I like.
When do you buy what you like with the intention of, are you intentional about putting outfits together, or do you buy things as you see them and then gradually like bring it together?
So if it's like some sneakers, I just buy the sneakers as I don't think about the outfit. But when it comes to clothing and pieces and socks and other accessories and hats and stuff, I think about a total look.
Got you. Okay.
I think it's just when it gets intentional, and then I mix and match stuff too, and that's intentional. I am very mindful in the way I dress.
Got you. Girls over there like he actually know he actually having some conversation here, knowing what he talking about. Okay. What's your favorite stores?
Oh gosh.
You like Urban Outfitters?
I like Urban Outfitters. I mean, Urban Outfitters gets a lot of slack black on the internet because it's like fast fashion or whatever the case is, but I like Urban Outfitters. They have certain pieces. For a while when they were doing the 90s thing, I was off of them. I was just kind of
I was really struggling with the not like when they came in there with all that Nautica and that Fila stuff. I was just like, look.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really don't think they've rebounded since. They're not what they were 4 or 5 years ago.
No, they're not. But they got fine. I can find, especially online, I can find pieces that like, ooh, that's how I roll. I'm looking for like a hat or something, or just it's a go-to place for certain things for me. Maybe some sweats, or if I want to find a sneaker that might be on sale, that's not on sale somewhere else, I'll go to Urban Outfitters. So it's a go-to for me, and they always have a hidden gem. They really do.
Yeah.
If you get past all the trendy stuff, like I'm good. Outfitters. I like this place called Anthropology. Love Anthropology. I love. They're like sister companies anyway. Free People. Where else do I shop a lot? I try to do like black owned places. Something. It's a woman. Something by Sonia. I think that's her name. I got some these cool jeans that I love from her. That's why she stood out to me. Rue 107. I used to shop there a lot. That's online. They're based in New York. It's a black owned company. Like I said, I have friends that do vintage stuff. My friend Chastity with House of Beverly, my friend Tonya with Dirty Keto. So I buy stuff from them. What's some other shopping? I'm everywhere. Nike, Adidas.
Yeah, we'll have to post that and make sure we highlight those black businesses for sure.
Yeah. I always try to, get in some black businesses. I try to be. That's another thing I try to be intentional. Of course, it's like it's lots of black businesses, but I can't. I get this the other one, this bigger. But
I like the shirt you have on there with Andre 3000.
This is designed by do you know Bobby Fresh?
Bobby Fresh. I feel like I know the I've seen that on the internet. Yeah.
He's a local artist here based in Richmond, and his business is called Esoteric. So he designed the shirt. Yeah, he's dope. Cool. Yeah, I knew I wanted to wear something that was local.
That's cool. Last question on the fashion piece. Let me see if I know who Bobby Fresh is so we can shout him out. Bobby Fresh. The name sounds familiar though. Yeah, I see him now. Yeah, I know who it is. I follow him. Yeah, he's working on, I guess he's working on Noah's pants.
Yeah. They got a collaboration with the Cats. They do charged up stuff and exactly.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a musician.
Yeah, that must be part of it. I think he's on he's on a podcast also. Is he on the Rich
and them?
The drunk Yep.
Boozing.
There we go.
You just say the drunk thing?
Booze and crew. That one, right? I want to be on that show. I want to go on their show for real because
that show is fun.
Yeah,
fun.
I love being on other people's show that gets loose like that. I don't want to do it. Huh?
When they bring it, the first guest, we need to make that happen.
Oh yeah, I told him Melodic sometimes, so I know he's on that show, and I've talked to Rich about it. We just haven't made it happen, but when we get out back together for sure, I definitely want to do something. And vice versa. I want them to be on the show as well. All right, last question on the fashion piece here. Okay. Are you or have you been presented with opportunities to be an ambassador for someone's merchandise? Because I can see that happening. We're gonna go and bring that into the atmosphere if it's not like now.
Please put this in the. Let's manifest this. I've been asked to be ambassador for things, but they wasn't clothes related. But I want to. I absolutely do for like a major brand or a smaller brand, a brand that I like. Definitely that I can. I definitely want to get into some brand ambassadoring. I think, to be honest, I'm probably just a little lazy, just haven't put in the work to do what's required, which I kind of don't. I know, but I don't know all that's required. But you got to be on that type of stuff. You got to be on it.
It seems like you own it though. Like, I mean, I don't see how I don't see why nobody wouldn't be interested in identifying you in being that for them, particularly if it's the right brand.
The right brand. I agree. Like, it doesn't make sense to me either. It's weird. I don't know. I guess certain brands they're looking for like following, and I do have a lot of engagement when I post. I talk. I have engagement. So
yeah,
followings and my engagement is real. It's it's fake stuff.
It's gonna happen.
Whatever.
It's
real
gonna happen.
People, real it's real shout outs and have real discussions. So it's gonna happen. There's no other choice. That's the next step. What's next?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. So changing lanes.
Okay.
I also, as I said in the beginning, I also see you as like as a visual fixture in the regional hip hop scene too. Like, first off, I talk to a lot of artists, and I love them to death. Okay, but it's more to hip hop than music, obviously, and they know that as well. They know that. But 9 times out of 10, when you're talking to an artist, you're talking to them about their music or their merchandise or what they got coming. And so, I feel like because I keep the conversation hip hop typically from a cultural standpoint and what we're talking about, regardless of who I'm talking about, I'm gonna bring it back. And so I look at you and I say, you embody hip hop culture as well. And so, but that's something you're aware of. Fair to say?
Yeah, it's fair to say. I'm around.
So how do you use your influence to help move and uplift the culture?
Well,
I think the thing that you and Rayvon do is dope. The party, that's real dope. But I think there's more that you can speak to about that because you are in people's ear.
How do I use my influence to uplift the culture? Okay, so prior to when you reference me and Rayvon, what we do, that's 4 of us, me, Rayvon, Dom, and Jayo. And so that is 200. So that's a party, that business that we have, a party that we throw. Of course, that's like hip hop music, hip hop R&B music from the early 2000s. That's one thing that I'm a part of. But prior to that, I threw parties with Style and Spirits. That was me and Dom, and that was style themed parties. And so we would have music, we would have DJs. So we both like going out. We like parties. We love music. So we said to ourselves, like, whatever we do is gonna include a DJ. It's gonna include music. Mm-hmm. So that's another lane. Like anything I do, if I can have a DJ, I'm gonna have a DJ. I respect the DJ. I love music, all of it. So that's another way I kind of contribute to the culture by always keeping in mind how can I, whatever I'm a part of, having a DJ involved in some type of way. Also, I attend a lot of shows when shows were a thing.
Yeah,
it's not anymore. If I knew what was going on, like locally, I'll pop out and go to somebody's event that was hip hop related in some fashion. I talk about it with people, like in my conversations. I grew up. I'm a hip hop kid.
Let me tell you what I experienced talking to a lot of artists on camera, off camera. I catch myself doing like a lot of coaching, and I see. I could probably make some side change doing, like, I spend a lot of time talking. It's not intentional. It's that, and I see this with you, and I'm wondering, like, artists are dealing with a lot of things. Sometimes their music comes from their happiness. Sometimes their music comes from their pain, and how they approach and embrace life, period. It comes typically from one of those places. And I see a lot of times why artists need management, because they allow their dreams and fantasies and their creativity to lead them in these spaces where, they need someone to tell them that that's not it. And for most of them, that's not it. Like, I keep telling people, we are in this time.
Yep.
And so at some point you need people that's really objective and constructive in your corner to tell you that's not it, or to tell you, like, look, man, you got to do this interview, be your authentic true self, live your best life, but be mindful. The last episode was with Senator McClellan. By the way, she's the overseer of your district. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are out here, just be mindful of your audience. Richmond's real small, So I say all that to say, with you being a licensed professional counselor and you being so immersed in the community, I see, feel, and believe that you have an impact and influence on culture in a lot of ways, particularly within hip hop, just by the intelligence that you can bring to a conversation and the wit, and respectfully, the female perspective. Because sometimes, particularly male artists, will listen to, you know, we could say the same thing, but they may receive it differently from you than they would from a male. So that's just kind of my thought, because I feel like you have that influence and that impact in moving people.
You know, it's interesting. As you was talking about this and I was scanning my brain, I know like of a lot of our local artists, but I'm not friends with them. I don't have relationships with them. Isn't that interesting? I do not have relationships with not one local artist. No. I have relationships with artists, like people who paint and draw, all that, those people, DJs, but like the actual musicians, MCs, and people that's in the band and all that, singers, no. And if somebody is gonna watch this and like,
yeah, your DM might get.
I'm trying to be think no, I don't have like. I got a relationship with photographer, all other sorts of mediums of artistry, but not the actual person, the MC. That's so interesting?
It is interesting.
I don't know why. I got friends that's friends with these people, but I'm friends with them on social media. But yeah, like when I was at VCU, I was friends with a lot of people who rap. They was around me all the time. It was lots of ciphers and all that stuff going on when I was grad. But in my adult life,
I think that you could end up it could be a whole market for you, though. Seriously, from a business standpoint, it could be a whole market. It could be a market of clients, you know, and maybe not for the purpose, maybe for just, you know, functional day-to-day stuff and getting through. I'm not saying that they're going to come to you for severe purposes, obviously, or maybe so, but that's interesting to me. That's super interesting to me.
Yeah, you know, by you saying that, I always said another thing I want to be a therapist to celebrities. Like, did you ever used to watch that show, The Therapist? On
I don't watch TV. Vice? I don't watch TV.
It came out a few years ago. It was on Vice. So it was this dude. His name is Dr. Sirnan Sethi or something. I might be messing up his name, but he's an actual therapist in California. And so they would send. I think Prodigy. Prodigy went to him and just some other rappers. And they showed clips. He did 30-minute therapy sessions. And I was like, ooh, I want to be that guy. Matter of fact, Prodigy was on the show before he died. Like 2 weeks.
That's so crazy to me, because I just feel like there's a demographic of folks out there that I fall personally within that category as well. And if I was looking to go seek some professional counseling and support, I would want to identify a therapist who I felt like I could identify with and who could identify with me. Therefore, like I see this happen all the time on Facebook when people start asking for Black male therapists. James Harris' name comes up all the time. It's like a given because they don't know many Black male therapists. And that's not no point to him. It's just a reality. Like they identify with him, you know?
But is James clients? That's the question.
Say that again.
Is James taking clients?
God knows. I don't know if he can.
I don't know James taking clients.
I don't even know.
That's his name gets circled around because of the work that he does in the community as mental health. But I don't even know if I think he sees some people, but like on a whole, like how people want to see him, I don't think he's taking clients to that magnitude yet.
And or if he's, but you know what? Let's say he's not. He's kind of put him in a space with the Healing Hub, and just by being a Black male therapist, that he's in that pocket. And I guess if I chose that route as a license, I'm in mental health some days, you know, but listen, I'm not
really.
Yeah, some days I am. Some days I'm not. You know, it just depends on where my mental health is. You know, I'm really kind of balancing it out. I'm kind of getting out a little bit right now.
I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in it forever. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to channel my focus, you know, to other aspects of it, whether we're focusing on the homelessness or the incarceration circumstances that contribute to it, just for balance. But I mean, not to get off topic, but if he decided to make that a primary focus, I think he's kind of created he's branded himself with the Men to Heal that he's there and his doors will be open. But no, I see you as a person who could be a therapist to the celebrities. I definitely see that.
Randy. I see myself doing that seriously, because when I see certain things, these things that comes out in the news with various celebrities, breakups, this, that, and the other, I'm like, they need a therapist. I wish I could provide therapy. When I hear these scandals, I literally think to myself, I know certain, I don't know the whole picture, but certain things I'm like, okay, I could work with this person.
Yeah. So let's pivot here. One of the things, and this is kind of, this will be the meat of our conversation here. I believe that, because I'm talking to a therapist, so licensed professional counselor right now, that you have interesting perspective on the world and the time that we're in right now, which is a very interesting time. And I'm curious, without you getting into any specific details, but like with the people that are coming in your office right now, the people that you're seeing, are you seeing any consistent themes right now because of what we've been through with the pandemic and COVID? Can you speak to what you're seeing?
Okay, so just to give some context, I currently work at an addiction rehab facility. It's an inpatient facility. So this is different from an outpatient setting where you just go to the office for an hour once a week. I'm there, they're there for 28 days. Me and my colleagues, we're there. We see these people every day. We do groups and we do individual and family therapy. So this is way more intimate than the outpatient environment. I'm seeing a theme in increased addiction. Yeah, lots of that. I'm seeing a theme in deaths due to overdose. I'm seeing a theme in high increase in anxiety, like and also obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a part of the anxieties. I'm seeing an increase of just codependency, just you name it. I'm seeing an increase in a lot of anxiety.
What's the demographic that you serve in this inpatient? Is it male, female? Is it majority, anything?
So yes, statistics, majority white male. And the varies from 18 to 70, pretty much.
Now, majority white male.
The next demographic is white female, and then after that it's black male, and then after that is black female, and after that is like other. It could which is I see like maybe 1 to 2% of the Latino population. That's rare. So they're like the last of the groups. I don't think I've worked there for almost 2 years. I don't think I've seen a person. Oh yes, I have. One person that's identified as Eastern Asian. That's about it.
Okay, so this is an inpatient unit.
Yes.
I think there's people out there right now that's like in their mind. I mean, so what's the initial criteria for why people come in there?
So they have to have an addiction. So we work with people who have alcohol, substance, all the drugs, and gambling addiction. And so the criteria is that their addiction is so prevalent that it has caused them to be hospitalized and they cannot function or lost a job, those types of things. They cannot function within the home setting, so they need residential.
I got you. I'm with you. So for those of you who are listening and you've heard that perspective, I also do some work with people who are severely mentally ill. The difference here is that I would say the majority of my folks are Black. And to me, and most of them are, all of them are 18 and older. I'll say between 18 and 65, majority Black, majority female, I would say. All right. So to me, what I find to be an interesting dynamic here in this comparison is that your folks come in due to drug issues. You said it, majority white, and we're talking about crack cocaine, alcohol, pills, typically, right? My folks just been smoking weed, and then getting drunk, too, and got a history of crime. And that there probably parallels as a result of other socioeconomic circumstances that's resulted in also hospitalization. So I find it to be a very interesting dynamic, and I don't know if everybody will see what that divide is, but clearly more white people are doing alcohol and hard white drugs, meaning I'm saying cocaine, heroin, pills. That's interesting to me.
I don't know if it's more white people doing it. It's just that
or more going into treatment.
More white people more likely to seek treatment. Like this thing.
Fair.
Black people, either they're unaware of this type of treatment, they don't have the time to take, because again, this is 28 days. Like I said, we do see some Black people, but it's rare. And I've heard the Black people that do come, it's like they talk about like, I didn't have time. My wife or somebody had to convince me. A lot of people say that, but they didn't think they had the time, or sometimes they got to hurry up and get back to work. We have those people. So it's just, in a lot of, historically, Black people are still not seeking mental health help at the rate white people are. That's just what it is. It's still happening. As much as we talk about mental health right now, Black people are still lagging behind on seeking it.
Yeah, I mean, I strongly push the fact that we need to be proactive versus reactive, and this is a proactive service. This is see, most of the folks who I'm dealing with are reactive. They are already forced into some type of residential facility, or they're on probation, or it's some court order, so they have to come. So, well, that's interesting.
I mean, some people that come to us got a court order. We
John
get people
Tyler Vasap.
What'd you say?
John Tyler Vasap. You familiar with them?
Yeah, I know. Yep, John Tyler Vasap.
I figure they make referrals to you guys, like it's court. No,
it's not court. The court is not Vasap. I don't think we get any Vasap referrals. The court will say, like the probation officer, whoever say, you got to go to treatment. In order, you're either going to do this a certain amount of time in jail, or you go to treatment. That's offered in certain jail settings. So if they have the means, insurance, or the money, they come to us. I'm either going to go to rehab or I'm going to sit in jail. Gotcha. So that's how some people, so we get people from out of jail too.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of, we don't take people like violent crimes on their records, but a lot of the jail, like DUIs and, that type of thing, overdosing. And so it's the same old stuff, but.
Are you seeing any racial tension in the inpatient unit right now?
I wouldn't say tension, but it comes up. Yeah, it comes up. Yeah, when we get Black, every now and again it comes up. Like their feelings. It depends on who it is, where they're from, their background. They will talk about their feelings about where we are. Because again, my colleagues represent what the population look like. Mm-hmm. So it's only 3 Black people that work there as therapists and counselors. When I first got there, it's only 2.
Mm-hmm. And you brought a whole Black woman up in there when you came.
Yeah, I'm a whole real Black woman, and it's interesting. A lot of the women that come, they tell me, "I wish I could be strong like you. You're such a positive influence. Just the way you carry yourself." Like they, outside of my, skill set as a therapist, they talk about how I present myself, how I show up.
Yeah.
Like you comment on like my posture, things like that, my style, all of it. Representation matters wholeheartedly. And these are, like I said, white women majority of the time that give me these compliments. So that's my representation in that setting, is not only that I'm Black, but also a woman.
Yeah. What do you have any comments for those who may be intimidated by you?
Oh my God, I don't understand it, Randy. I hear this all the time. I don't get it.
Yeah. I understand. I understand it. Do I get it? No, I don't know I don't think it's meant for you to get things. Like, to me, it's almost a little bit of ignorance, because I embrace the strength of others around me. Like I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Like if I am, that means I'm responsible for leading this whole place. Like, I believe that, can we work together? Can we do this together? But I think it's ignorance. And I'm
you think people are intimidated by me?
Say that again.
You think people are intimidated by me?
Yeah. Do I think they should be? No. But do I believe they are? Yeah, of course they are.
It's so, Randy, that's weird. I don't like, maybe because I'm me. I get it.
I didn't say I think they should be. I didn't say I think they should be, but I think it's just a reality. I think that anytime that, you can show up, with, in knowing what you bring to the table, presenting what you bring to the table, and confidence and bold, and can stand on your word, that makes those who are uncomfortable more uncomfortable. because it forces them to have to face and deal with their own insecurities, and unless they're willing to embrace it. And unfortunately, that's not a society that we live in.
You're right. I mean, I guess sometimes my presence can be, because it doesn't have anything to do with me, my presence can be an indictment on what that person may be lacking, but that has nothing to do with me. Like you said, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
So, like, I'm a cool person.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about in talking to you, and it kind of, I was inspired from a recent conversation. A lot of times when I'm talking to counselors and therapists, they want to focus and talk about relationships. Do you get approached a lot with that?
So that's actually my specialty at work.
So you talk about all kinds of relationships. I'm sure, not intimate relationships, spiritual relationships, professional relationships. So
I spend a lot of my time in the therapy setting. I talk about intimate relationships and the parent-child dynamic.
Okay.
Whether it's adult parent-child, issues, or like you got a kid, parent issues, and definitely couples, intimate couples.
Okay.
Yeah, and relationship with self.
Okay.
So I spent work is about self-esteem, self-worth, and all the relationships, the interpersonal dynamics that's around you.
Okay. But for the streets right now, okay?
Yeah,
my question to you is, where do you feel that we are struggling at the most, and particularly in the Black community, when it comes to relationships?
Oh my God. I think
You're a solution-oriented person.
Yeah, I'm trying to be I'm just gonna keep it real.
Please,
it's a lot of different dynamics. So let's start with the foundational issues. A lot of people get in relationships to avoid dealing with their own stuff. And they're not even aware of it. And so that's just not in our community. It just happens across the board in all the communities. A lot of people get in relationships because they feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm bored. The people like they need people to validate their existence, all sorts of stuff, but they have so much trauma and things that need to be healed, and it's a distraction. So that's one of the issues. So they end up partnering with people that trigger old wounds, they're walking back into their dysfunctional childhood, all those types of things. So that's some foundational issues that I see across the board in relationships. People do not intentionally, like we talk about my style being intentional, people don't intentionally choose partners. They just get with people based of feeling of euphoria or whatever that's in the moment. You're cute, or you're popular, or you dress nice, whatever. Though you were educated, or a lot of people got a checklist of things. You have a degree, you work here, those types of things. But the lack of awareness and being intentional about choosing their mate, and that's just across the board, because people don't like looking at themselves.
Yeah.
And no one wants to. Because for some people, because the way we have conditioned in this culture that single equals misery for a lot of people. So they don't want to like take on and not take on, but they don't want to just be and revel in singleness. So it's a lot of misery. So do you end up with people that just you're not ready for, or they got their own issues?
Yeah, I don't believe in that whole 50-50 thing. I think that's that's just, I know, I think when people say 50-50, I think they're implying that, it's ideally that two people come together to make it work. But if this is 50, this is like, there's a lot of gaps in there. You can't be a half a person getting together with another half a person. You still you a broken puzzle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you need to be a whole person, and you got to get with another whole. Ideally, it's math. A positive and a positive is always going to be a positive. Okay, if you got a negative, you got a positive. They come together. It's like paper, rock, scissors. It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. It can work, but it's gonna require. It's gonna require work.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, you need to be as close to 100 as possible. It's like a video game. You playing, you need to have your person as close to 100 as possible. Come together, solid. None of us are perfect, obviously,
No,
but you can date. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to just get married or make that full commitment.
yep.
There's so many, take your time. For those people who are out there who are single and, they feel like they're at a certain age or like they haven't had, they still want to have children and they still have these aspirations, but they're at this place where, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting older. My advice is like, look, when you will know when you know,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
don't force anything, because I mean, think about it. Like, for those who are single and don't have kids and they're not married yet, there's some great things and some major assets that they have to their life right now that some of us old folk who's married and kids, we don't have that privilege anymore. So maximize on it. There's professional things I would like to do right now that I have to take in consideration my young one and my family. It's like, so it's a lot of that. But let's go back. Well, no, go ahead. Finish your thought, because I'm gonna go back to relationships with you.
Oh yeah, I was still gonna talk about relationships and just about what was that? It was a point I was about to make about people and being single. What was it? Because you touched on it, and I thought about something.
I'm sorry about to mess your thought
I
up.
know it. I'm kind of late, but yeah, people just in general, they don't really want to do the work to look at themselves. So it's just easy. I tell people all the time, the best way to hide from yourself is to go get in a relationship. Go get in a relationship. And so what happens is when we get stuck in like the single, I'm miserable, this back and forth of misery when you're single, then you start to, when you see a glimpse of a person, a piece of a person, you start to act out in desperation. And you want to know how I know that? I see it in my clients, and I've definitely done that several times. And not making the best decision that was for me, and not taking advantage of the opportunities of just healing and doing the work that I needed to do while being single. It was just like, oh, okay, we're dating. Like, okay, like let's go be in a relationship, and not really listening to the person about their wants, their desires, and those types of things. So then you get into this thing, and it turns into a mess. There's nothing to be desperate for. I try to advise people now is just to let go and accept what is. And once you accept what is, you can focus on dealing with what is and living the life that you have.
Yeah.
Not dwelling on the life that you want. Just be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the thing you control to it. Like you can control what type of career, how much money you want to make. Those things are pretty much kind of in a person's control, right?
Yeah.
But you can't really control like what partner you're gonna meet and when. You can try to do some things to put yourself in the position, but the person that's for you it's either gonna be or it's not. I mean, like that's a thing that's not always guaranteed in this life.
But I think that's where, and I think a lot of times people miss it. I'm not gonna say that you miss it, because I think what's meant to be, what's meant to be will be. But I think that I do think people can get in the way of themselves, and they can sometimes miss out on phenomenal opportunities of what could be. Nothing just is without, there's progress in the process. So sometimes the individual that you are involved with, both of y'all are evolving together into becoming who you are meant to be. So sometimes you just got to go through that journey and be willing to recognize that the grass is not always green on the other side. Nothing is, no two people, in my opinion, are like perfectly ideally matched to be together. I don't believe that we just wake up, it's God said, okay, this is who it's going to be. It takes work on yourself as well.
It's a choice. It's literally being in a relationship and committing to a person, if that's the type of relationship you want, because not everybody wants to be in a monogamous relationship, right? But even if you want to be whatever the relationship is, it's still a choice. I choose this, and I'm going to put it in the practice of love within this dynamic. It's still a practice. It's work, like you said.
Listen, I want you to know that this is the conversation that my female listeners has been wanting to have, and I think seriously, and with you being a professional in this space, I think it adds even that much more value, because it's not like I'm just talking to someone about their perspective on relationships. She is a credentialed professional. Okay. This is what she does. And so I value that. Now, this next question is a question that has came up recently in a couple conversations. I have a pre-recorded episode that hasn't came out yet. So it's going to come out very soon and you'll be able to see pieces of what I'm talking about. Okay. Still in the context of the Black community, and we're talking about relationships. And I believe strongly that it starts at home. It starts between partners, whether it's man and woman or whomever. Okay. It starts in the home. So my question to you, with everything, I mean, I believe right now we are really in the time of the Black woman. I think Black women have never been, they've always been strong, but I think the media has finally, the society has finally begin to pay homage and respect. And I think a lot of that, I'm not saying that it's where it needs to be. So I don't want y'all to get it completely twisted. Y'all can still do more. Y'all can still give us more flowers. Okay. But I do believe that, I think that there's been some other, examples of Black women out there who've led with excellence. And I think that it's provided and shedded light on others who do as well. So strong time for Black women. But there still is a lot of work to do within the Black family. And there's still a lot of work to do between the Black man and the Black woman, as far as just how you build that foundation. And I've been a part of a lot of conversations lately where women have been, I've heard a lot of feelings as it pertains to where they find difficulty in finding their mate with a Black man, where they feel like there's issues right now as it pertains to just money and income, or how they're being, independence in regard to how they want to, live their life and evolve. Is any of these things I'm speaking to right now things that you've been presented with, or that you preview to in your conversations with folks in the community? Because these are conversations I've been a part of recently with Black women. So it's encouraging me to begin having more of these conversations. And I got my perspective on it that I haven't shared, but I may.
So I just want to be clear. The feedback you've gotten is in reference to maybe some Black women feel like they're not meeting men that make as much money. Like you said something about income.
I guess to sum it up in general, the feedback that I'm getting from a lot of Black women is that they still don't feel fully appreciated by Black men, regardless of the success, regardless of the progress that we've made, regardless of how, women have contributed to doing their part in upholding the family, doing their part in raising children, doing their part in working jobs, doing their part in being breadwinners. It doesn't matter. Even though Black women are on the rise from society's standpoint, maybe not so much in the Black community from their counterpart standpoint, in the respect that they feel like they're given.
I hear that, yeah, all the time. Exactly.
You hear that? You said you do hear that?
Yeah, I hear it, and I feel it. I'm a Black woman. Yeah, we've been on the rise for a minute. This is not nothing. This has been going on for the past 20 years, I would say, that Black women look just doing the thing, politics, they everywhere, just everywhere all the time. And now they're, directors of movies and owning stuff and all this type of stuff. But as a whole, I don't see Black women being loved on by Black men as they should and not appreciated. I don't have the answer to that. It's so many nuances. I see a lot of Black men, and when you say Black woman, and I hate to go here, but this is because Black, we come in different variations, colors, shapes, sizes. But I'm gonna be honest about what I see because of social media. Black men, just your standard Black man, brown Black man.
Say that, what, the standard Black man?
Huh?
Say that one more time. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
And your Black man had a Black parents, Black man. Mm-hmm. This is what I see. There's a lot of lusting over women that maybe look like the Kardashians, or that does not look like the people that they grew up with. It does not look like the girl that you grew up with next door, your sister, your mom, your auntie. It's a lot of that now. It's a lot of the critiquing of the Black woman and her looks. And I'm seeing a lot of Black women really getting engaging in surgery and changing themselves to look like I don't know, whatever they think is the prototype. But I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot of men fantasizing over women that's just not Black.
Yeah.
Or damn near not Black, or whatever the case is. I'm just like, it's
coming to America too. In Coming to America too. I thought when Tiana Taylor came out, I just knew that, like, you know, okay, that's Tiana Taylor. But I loved Eddie Murphy's daughter, the Queen. She won me. My wife and I was talking about that. Like, she kind of won me over in the movie. I was like, dang, Tiana, you just not looking as good right now beside her. I was really feeling that movie.
It's beautiful, and what she represented is strength and grace and honor and all. You know, I don't think Tiana, her character was, you know, she's a beautiful woman, but her character wasn't designed to. She was supposed to look good, and that was about it. But
yeah, I mean, the way she spoke and the way she portrayed herself in that movie, she was just like, you know, I'm here for you. I'm a piece of meat for you. I'm waiting for you. I do it. You know, that's kind of what I got from it. But I don't even remember Coming to America, the first one. Don't judge me, please. I don't remember.
Like, her aunt in the movie was like her, pretty much, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it now. I gotta go back and watch the first one. It's been a long time. And I'm not gonna lie, my attention span is not great for movies. So it's tough, but
it takes me a while to get through a movie these days. And I used to sit for a movie has to be amazing for me to sit thoroughly through it.
Oh yeah. If you don't get me in the first 10, 15 minutes, I'm not like, the only thing I really watch on TV consistently right now is Power, and it's off season, so I'm not really watching anything.
Oh my God.
I watched the Lakers, I watched the Charlotte Hornets, and I watched YouTube. That's what I watch. I control what I watch based off watching YouTube. Other than that, that's it. But I'm glad that we could touch on that relationship piece, though, because I don't know if you've seen I don't know if you know the full value of what I believe that others see with that. But I think that's conversation that I do little surveys with folks, and that's conversation that my audience wants to get more feedback on from a female's perspective. Now, go ahead.
People be in relationships. It's a weird thing, because it looks like people getting in relationships left and right, especially during like COVID. It looked from my Instagram. I don't know all these people personally. I know of them because of just in this community. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. It looked like people just in relationships. I just be like, oh, that's cute. But I used to, always swooning over people's like, oh my God, they're so cute. But because of I'm older now, and because of the work that I do, I've seen so much, and it's just kind of like, okay, good luck. Literally, I don't have a lot of interest. I used to think relationship was so amazing. Like, I'm seeing these, great pictures, and it's so cute. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Good luck. I don't get all it because
I know nasty. Y'all getting together during COVID though. Like y'all nasty. Y'all nasty. Y'all gotta be careful during COVID.
Some people started dating prior to that, like some people was a little lonely, and they I guess they's like, you good, I'm straight. I've seen a lot of relationships happen during this time period. I mean,
more power to them.
I know how this happened.
I want to say this though. I got to be careful though. Let me make sure I say it right.
This the best time. Think about it. You got the dude. Where he going? He not out and about like people ain't moving like how they were. So all you got time afterwards. Sit on the phone all night on FaceTime. You got time now. Like, I'm not gonna risk it with anyone else. That's why I'm like, okay, I don't buy into that stuff, because all right, what's gonna happen when this world open back up? And I don't I hope people's relationships are healthy, but a lot of people's relationships are not.
And if they're
people aren't healthy, Randy. Like, a lot of people are struggling, and this is not a.
Let them know you accept Aetna, United. Let them know you accept Aetna, Optima. Virginia Premier. Let them know and come see you right now. Let them keep on messing up. Just let it keep on happening.
taking any patients. No, don't, like, yeah. Psychologytoday.com, Style Effect. We got resources on there. I'm not taking any patients. Not like that is something I may pivot into. But Randy, it's a lot of work.
But you know what, right now? But you know what? There's a brother or sister or someone out there right now, okay, who's watching this interview and they're looking at you and they saying, she's the one for me. She said, that's what's happening. You done got you a couple clients off this show today. And you know, someone's out there. Check your DM, but this ain't live, but you know,
yeah.
they're gonna be at you. They're gonna be at you.
Clients that I ain't seeing.
And clients too.
Okay, I'm open to that. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm just like.
So you are open.
Yes, I'm open. You mean open? What are we talking about, Randy?
You open-minded to what the future holds from you as it pertains to relationships.
Absolutely. I'm like, yeah, I'm the infinite possibilities.
So that's that's a good point though, because in my last conversation with Chelsea Lamore Monroe, we were talking. I did a sister. What's her sister? Single in the City podcast. I wasn't on it, but we were talking about her show, and I have an objective opinion, and we shared it because, like, back when I was a single guy, I was very reluctant to approach. Like, if I didn't feel like it was some mutual synergy, I'm not approaching, because there's a lot of, you know how y'all do. I ain't saying you, but you know, there's a significant percentage. Yeah. There's a significant percentage of women, you know. I'm saying women. I'm not saying men. I'm saying women. I'm saying this pretty boldly. You know, if there was someone who was looking to approach them, they could be a decent person. They already got their block up. Like, they're not even gonna let you come near them. So I was like, look, I'm not even setting myself up for that. None.
You know how that get catcalled a lot. So that's just a symptom of all the catcall. So they, like, anybody who
trauma?
Like that.
It's trauma.
Yeah, for a lot of women. Yeah. So
they just automatically reject you. Like, I'm not even giving you a chance.
It's a defense mechanism. So just like how you said you like a synergy, I think women, they like synergy too, but the approach has to be a little bit, you know, like, instead of that same old hate, you know, let me comment on your body, all that type of stuff. Women are over that. So I think women want the same thing, a synergy and just regular conversation. Women want to be seen, not just with the eyes, but I see you. Like, I'm actually talking to you. I'm engaged. Yeah, I see you fine, but I see more to it than that. Or I'm trying to get to know you. That's what women want ultimately.
But do women understand that they've also, to some degree, because of the trauma, and we, you know, I can't speak for all these guys, you know, I can't speak for all of them. Quite frankly, I can't speak for any of them. So y'all on y'all's own, because I ain't been in those streets in a while, all right? But I'm saying though, like, by default, I feel like that's a stigma that has to be broken also, because that's already an expectation from a lot that they're going to get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much work. Like, look, I'm a decent guy, right? I'm trying to find the right way to approach you. You know what I'm saying? But if I got to go through all these layers of, it's like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. So then you see him over there with, you know, with a chica or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And now you talking about him because of, you know, him selling out, right? But it was easier. It was easier. That's just what it came down to.
But I hear that when I, you know, I've done therapy sessions with Black men who are in interracial relationships, and they would say sometimes it's just their environment. Like, some, you know, Black people grew up in majority white environments, and that's what they're acculturated to. But some of them would talk about, it's just the person was friendly. It's as simple as that. You're right.
Look, I've got some recent feedback, right? I was having an interview with someone who was in in a Black-brown situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they loved everything about, you know, the culture of the brown culture. They loved everything about it, the food and the dance and the music and everything that came with it, the sex, everything, right?
Sexuality. That's I hear a lot too.
But then
On both sides.
But then they started struggling because when they was in certain environments, you know, when the brown folks began to recognize that the black folks wasn't brown and they couldn't speak their language and they, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, they got just overly immersed in the culture and they started recognizing I can be treated differently even in this culture. It started going, and that was the first time this is the first conversation I've ever been a part of where I recognized how difficult in a black brown situation that it actually could be for either person. I mean, I think about it when you see black white, you're destined to see some issues. You know what I'm saying? It's apparent that there's going to be some differences.
Issues with a black person with anything outside of being black. Hell, sometimes being black on black is issues. But when you add the different culture, just globally, people don't rock with black people. Think about it.
Yeah,
black. Everything negative in certain countries, it represents low social economics, being poor, all sorts of stuff. And then if you're dealing with people from other countries, there's the perception of black people, like globally, if you're not a rapper or athlete, and that's all that we are from a global perspective, it's not healthy.
Yeah, and even but you know, I think what I've noticed is from traveling here and there a little bit, let's just use, you know, Asian culture. Filipinos experience the same thing too, you know, within Asian culture.
Anybody dark globally, even within their ethnic group, they get the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
If you are darker complex, I had talked to Cambodian people. They got nicknames where they call them some type of black or whatever, and they'll say like, I got shunned, and they avoid the sun. I've had multiple conversations with different all over the world, and there's darker skinned people in majority of the ethnic groups.
Yeah.
And then so imagine you straight up black and you're trying to assimilate in somebody else's culture, and the old school people in that family is like, you bring this black person.
Yeah. Nah, this part's been fun. This
did that.
Say what?
We don't do that. On the ones we don't do that.
I'm sorry. I
said black people. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Black people, we don't do that. We accept everybody. Historically.
Yeah, I mean, well, we gotta be careful though. We can't speak for all of them. I'm done. I don't speak for all black people no more.
You're right. Not all. Like, not to generalize. Let me put that disclaimer out there. But a lot of the black people that I know, their families, they kind of embrace whoever Raekwon decides to bring. You know, they might talk junk behind his back or her back. But typically it's not all that static like it is in other cultures. Other cultures don't, because of how their family is structured. A lot of them don't. Look at Harry and, well, that's not so good.
Yeah, but
the royal family is
that
example.
But the reason why I think that there's a lot of, you know, value to what you're saying is because it goes back to how I described you in the beginning. Being black is more than just a skin complexion. It comes with resilience. It comes with determination. It comes that means you battle tested. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you being black is like being a diamond in the rough for real. You know, like you're going to be able to quickly, easily identify that black person amongst a group of whatever the case is. And, you know, that means you've been through a lot to just continue to stand. Your family's been a lot. You've had to inherit that. So, yeah, this has been the part, though. This part of the conversation, these last 20-30 minutes of the conversation has been the part that I was aiming to get to, and this is going to be the part that I'm going to enjoy cutting up. We got to, as we wrap here to close, because my folks' attention span taps out about after an hour. Well, some of them, they'll tell me they'll watch the first 20 minutes and they'll go back and watch 20 minutes and 20 minutes, 20 minutes. That's just, they're like, Randy, you long-winded, but we enjoy it. We just catch it in pieces. It's fine. But this is the part.
Do what you gotta do. Like, that's funny because I think your interviews are engaging. So like,
I focus on the long conversation. I focus on the relationship. The conversation is what we do for people to engage in. But like every time I do an interview, it only contributes to like the work that I put into that relationship off camera, because all week after I interview, I'm studying interview. I'm in your social media. I'm focused. I'm locked in. And now it's like my mind begins to think like, where can this relationship go? What opportunities can this create? How am I going to cut this piece and post this piece to connect to this piece so that something can happen? And I believe that with you bring a lot of conversation. You bring a lot of things to a conversation that it's going to be beneficial for people to, just engage in this content. So I'm happy to have you on here as a guest. And I look forward to being able to do more things with you.
It's been a long time coming, Randy.
Yes, ma'am. I know I'm late for real. Very late. Very late. I've been told. Trust me. The community has told me. People got on to me. Trust me.
Really?
Yes, I've had people get on to me.
You have had everyone as somebody in this community and others. You've had everyone on this show. You really have.
So what happens is when I don't have someone, or when I'm late getting to someone, it's like you deal a little bit with like, are you now just getting around to me? It's not really. It's not like that for real. Like I look as much as you could say that I've had a lot of these people, I can still think about all these people I haven't had.
Yeah, it's true.
And to me, a lot of it is timing too. Like timing in regard to what value is like there's some people I'd like to have on the show, but there's no purpose of having them on the show until there's a purpose that they got something going on in life that's pivotal. Part of my motivation and inspiration for this conversation has a lot to do with knowing based off looking at my feedback that I really got to do a better job at engaging with women. That's one. That's one. I got to begin engaging in conversation that women want to hear. I'm studying the feedback I'm getting. That's two. I think you spoke to all of that, and I mean, I've been fed so much in my ear. There's a lot of people been in my ear like, look, this is who you need to talk to. This, I know. I need to make it happen. So
you're trying to like figure out like the what with me, because of course you started off this platform and initially it was musicians, right? Mm-hmm. And then you've had different types of people recently within the past year, I would say. Mm-hmm. A year and a half. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was the thing? Were you trying to kind of figure out like what angle, where
this is where I'm at with it. I branded it like this: Virginia's #1 podcast for hip hop culture and intentional dialogue. So I'm going to keep it hip hop. I don't care if I'm talking to the mayor.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm talking to Senator McClellan. I'm going to ask her, so what you listen to? We're going to get there. But I also try to get people to see who the person is beyond what they see them as. That's a focus of mine. I'm very intentional with that. But I my whole theme with the podcast is like, how can I kind of like use this platform to put emphasis and focus on people who are doing things? That's one, right? I'm just trying to brand myself as a person who can have conversation with anybody.
Okay.
That's it. So like a lot of people, I did an interview the other day and someone asked me like, what's the end goal? Like, what are you doing here? Like, what's your plan? Because you seem to be all over the place. And that's part of it. Like that is it. Like my goal is to show you, I'm looking at how I can create opportunities for myself by being diverse. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it. Now, because if I wanted to have a show where I had a very narrow focus night, only talked about music, because don't get me wrong, I'm gonna talk to artists most of the time because that's where that's your
thing. Yeah.
That's where I'm drawn to. But we're not gonna talk about music all the time. And when I get tired of talking about music and artists, that's when I kind of like, let me deviate off, because I think that artists need to know, what's going on with legislation. They need to know about what's going on in Virginia State. They need to know about artists in other parts outside of what they're familiar with. So I like to try to introduce people and bring new things in when I kind of when I get off of like my typical. The goal was to bring people in. I think the artists need to recognize, because obviously they don't, that Mecca is a major asset to your life in a lot of different ways. And she don't have relationships with you guys like she should. Or like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy.
Randy, it's weird, actually. It's super weird. Like, and maybe because, like you said, artists are like weird. again, not to generalize, they're in their head. They kind of stick to their own people. You see them out in public, they seem to be a little anxious. I can think of 4 people right now off the rip in my head that's like they're cool, but they're kind of artists don't seem interested in getting to like I know who I am. I'm very friendly. Like I talk to be like, hey, you know, hugs and all, but don't go beyond that with artists. Like I said, my bad. I know as in the social scene, a lot of artists, but I don't have, you know, I don't have the relationships, but all of my relationships are organic. I don't have contrived relationships. So it's just weird that I have that artists seem, in my opinion, seem to just kind of, they're travel. They kind of stick to their, you know, they're different types.
And I will say one of the reasons why artists draw to me, and I think, and I'm fine with it, is because artists look for platforms and they look for opportunities to maximize their content. You know, so it gets a little frustrating times. Like, no, I can't accommodate all these artists' needs. That's, you know, I can't.
I thought about
what's that?
How could I forget? I do know an artist that I have a partner. Like I partner with him, J Biz.
Who's that?
J Biz.
Oh, J Biz, yeah.
How in the world?
I was supposed to talk to him last week, but we had schedule conflicts.
Oh, he is so busy. Yes, I do know an artist. Me and J Biz, we developed an organic relationship, and he is a part of Cut to the Chase. Him, myself, Tangi, and Dion. We're Cut to the Chase. That's a men's talk group. And he opened. Actually, it was his idea. So J Biz, he's different as far as artists. He's friendly and all that.
J Biz is one of those who could be. I mean, we've done something together. Now we have done some stuff together in the barbershop. We did like a little. We did something in promotion for his cultural curator project. But he's an artist that he could legitimately right now he could get mad at me if he wanted to. He could say, man, like, we've been talking about doing this episode for how long? He could say it. And it's like, I know. Last week.
So he's busy. He's busy.
He is busy. And I think that's part of it. At the end of the day, most of the time people who are doing things are busy. And so it just happened. It's just a matter of timing. You got to believe and know that things are going to be when they're going to be. Let me share with you a funny story about him. But it's really more on me. You may have heard about this. I don't know if you know, but like, so we ride bicycles, right? Have you heard this story? Have you heard the story?
No.
So one day we were going to ride. Oh God, it's super embarrassing, but I'm comfortable talking about it now. We were going to ride, and like, I was feeling good that day, if you know what I mean. I was just feeling really good, right? And so I don't know. It was like it was a nice sunny day, and it was the first time we had one of those in a long time. And so we've been talking all week about, we're going to these bikes. We're going to do 50 miles a day. We're going to go hit it hard. I'm like, cool. So we get there, I'm psyched up. I get on my bike. So I got one of them bikes where, you know, my pedal, my shoe snaps into my pedal, right? And so I went off the track a little bit because there was a big puddle of water on the track. And I got those real thin tires. So I didn't want to I didn't want to go through that water because I thought I might spin out. So I decided to go off the track through the mud and then come back on the track. And my tires couldn't really like transition that smooth. When I tell you that I got flipped out of that bicycle, like my feet came out of the snaps. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was like real bad. I'm talking about like my lip was busted. My face was scratched. I had like a big gash in my hand. This was like probably back in like August, September. It was bad. Like it was really bad. And you know what? I give it up to him, man. He didn't clown me. He didn't laugh. It wasn't laughable though.
You were hurt. Why?
I was, you know.
You're not like that.
But it was one of those times where you could be. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it wasn't a laughable situation, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I don't expect him to laugh, but it could easily be a locker room joke. It definitely could be a barbershop conversation. I don't think he ever really took it out of context. I really don't, right? And
I never heard.
And we finished those 45 miles.
You got back on the bike.
I got back on the bike and I said, I'm gonna finish this.
With a busted lip and a scratched up hand.
Not just a busted. I mean, I'm talking about I was messed up bad. I was bad. I thought I probably should have got stitches and everything. It was horrible. But you know, we got back out there and did it. So that's my little J Biz story. It was a funny experience, man. But yeah, I think he's on his way to Atlanta now.
Yeah, he is. I just have to say this about J Biz. J Biz is, I consider him a Renaissance man. Mm-hmm. He's the new Renaissance. He does a little bit of everything. He's super dope. He's conscious. He's self-aware. I really appreciate him. I think he's a really, really good person.
I got a lot of love for Biz. This will be a death. I'm gonna post this. And I know they have a podcast coming to him and the sister do. Then they've already did some pre-recording for it. So you gotta check out that. And he will be on the show soon. So sorry, Biz. Again, that's a good example though. It's a lot of examples like that too. There's a lot of folks who's like, I don't know, it just hasn't worked out. I mean, I do all this, most of this on my I do a lot of this stuff on my own. So I can only edit but so much a week. I got a real job and you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I got a real job sometimes. So but yeah, look, I want to wrap this up with you.
Like one more suggestion. When you get Biz on the show, mm-hmm. When you get Biz on the show, you got to bring up relationship stuff. He loves talking about relationships. I will.
So you engage him, particularly from a male perspective.
Yep.
A male perspective.
We've had fabulous conversations about relationships.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably one of the things that draw some of our conversation together. You know, it was interesting when I met Biz, like all he really knew about me prior to us kind of building a relationship was the podcast. So when I started talking to him about the other stuff I do, in his mind, like he was like, you know, you did all that stuff. And like, hey, it's interesting though. Like people only know what you allow them to know. And it's a lot. I don't allow people to know, but what I want them to know. You know, like,
and what I did, I feel like maybe in the past year, like I guess 2 years, I really started talking about my actual career. Prior to that, people would come up to me like, so what do you do? I would crack up because, you know, that was back when I was just kind of like, you'll see me in the parties and me everywhere, out the socialite part of me. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I have a whole entire career.
Yeah. She established.
I did that on purpose. I needed the space between the two things, but you know.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way about a lot of things. Like, there's a whole nother side that I don't mind if you know, but you don't, you know, like I'm not on the podcast talking about my youngin. I'm not talking about my wife. Yeah. I'm not talking about personal things. It's not for this space. I mean, you know, it's not a secret either. It's not, but I'm a private person. So a lot of times with conversation, when I'm having it, I'm not confrontational. I'm giving that person their opportunity to speak their truth, say their thing. If I have an opinion, I'll say it, but I'm somewhat selective and careful on how I pick and choose what I'm going to say, because I recognize, even though this is my podcast, bigger than this podcast is who I am as a person. And I have to be a lot of different people. There's a lot of different versions of myself that I have to put in different places. So it's like, you know, I'm getting there. But part of the reason that I decided to do this was because I needed that therapeutic outlet for myself to talk about something other than stress and issues and problems. And so that's where I'm at. And that's a good transition for how I end the show, because I'm going to ask you some random questions so that people can kind of just hear your impulsive thoughts on certain things. Okay. Don't think, just speak. You got it?
Okay. Got it. This gonna be fun.
Yeah. Pick a number between 1 and 15.
7.
It's a great number. That's my preferred number as well. So, chicken or fish?
Fish.
LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
I don't do sports.
Okay, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that one. We won't do them. If you don't do sports, we're not doing it.
I gotta say Jordan, because that's the culture I came from. It's when it came to basketball, the Bulls was my grandmother's favorite team. I'm gonna go with Jordan.
Okay.
for the culture and from my perspective.
Okay. You know, I love Petersburg. I've been to Petersburg a lot. I was in Petersburg a lot. Think about it. I've been in Petersburg a lot, and I ain't even got to you yet. That's a lot. I've been in Petersburg a lot.
You can rub it in.
Gosh, I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out though. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me.
Like I'm like, yo, like, how do you like you know more about Hopewell and Petersburg than me?
Well, I study it. I mean, I'm just into knowing, you know, and there's so much beauty in Pittsburgh. Like the history of it is ridiculous. So name one thing about Petersburg that most people don't know.
Ooh. Most people don't know about Andrew's Grill.
Grill.
Yeah, most people don't know about the Mousetrap. So the Mousetrap was it turned into, it was a club, and it eventually became Magic City. So the original name of Magic City was the Mousetrap. Are you familiar with Magic City
Club?
Yep.
You talking about like the Virginia State parties?
Uh-huh.
I remember. Yeah.
Okay, you probably heard about Magic City in the early 90s.
I went to Virginia State for grad school.
But that was
03 to 05. So I'm just saying, I think that's before that.
You was around when what's the other club? Alzina's and all that was.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
Yeah, so Magic City was when I was a teenager, and so that was a big deal. Like Biggie, all sorts of people, Mobb Deep performed there. Like the who's who, that was the place to go. A lot of Richmond would always be fights and stuff between Petersburg and Richmond back in the day because everybody would go to that club. But the original name was the Mousetrap. Richmond and does people know? People probably don't know about Brown and Williams. Brown and Williams was kind of like the Philip Morris, what Philip Morris is to Richmond. Brown and Williams was a tobacco cigarette company that was in Petersburg, and it employed a lot of the residents. And then when they left, Petersburg went down.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I didn't know about all that. Yep. So question 4, there's a painting of you in the Urban Hang Suite, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me the story behind that? And like how that?
So I don't really know. So it was the Girls project. And it was a Kelly got an artist, and I think Kelly's vision, she wanted historical women and women that was in the community doing stuff on the wall. And I think that I got voted to be on the wall. I literally don't.
You special.
Yeah, it was, I cried. Like she had like an unveiling. So it started, Kelly had DM'd me and was like, hey, can you make it to this unveiling on this day? And I remember I looked at the DM and I was like, is that me? And the picture that they chose was, and people only knew it was a day that I was depressed. And I was like, what always makes me feel better is trying on clothes and just doing some looks. I literally just threw on some stuff that I thought was dope and kind of like set up my tripod and took a picture in like my spare bedroom because the walls are turquoise. And so I thought it was interesting that was the picture that was chosen to go on the wall. It was like me in a chair with some kicks. It was the whole fit. You would have thought that I was just like out and about, just one of a friend take the picture, but I wasn't feeling well that day at all. I was just, that time period was weird for me. And I cried. Like when I saw it, I was shocked. I was like, I stared at it and I was speechless. I get speechless when stuff like that to a large magnitude and I'm like shocked that I'm being honored, or if I feel like someone sees me for what I'm doing or putting out in the world, it's shocking to me. And so I cried. I cried also. My friends come through to the unveiling, and that was a whole experience.
Yeah, that speaks a lot to who you are, but I guess you never get used to it, huh? You should get accustomed to it, though. You should get accustomed to it. I mean, I'm saying that. I mean, I'm saying that because of you. I'm not saying that because of me or what I'm accustomed to. I'm saying that because of you. I think you should get accustomed to it.
He's like, I'm not saying it because of me. I'm saying it because it's just, I don't know if I will get in. I used to have like friends would say, we're kind of like local celebrities, like friends who were out and about doing stuff like a few years ago before the world shuts down. And I'm like, what? you can claim, I would say you can say that about you. I don't receive that. I don't like, huh? I just don't get it. Randy, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I know.
And
I mean, I know. I guess my opinion about that though is like, I just don't think this. My opinion is like, well, everyone. If you are about something, if you're doing something, you're going to be known for what you're about and what you're doing, particularly if it's positive, or if it's bad, you're going to be known. So
yeah,
I think people should embrace it. But I think that when you start attaching yourself, when people start identifying themselves as local celebrities, I feel like, I mean,
this is not something they announced to the world. They were talking to me.
Yeah, no. I know what you're saying, but that's a real thing though. It's a real thing though. It's a real thing though, because like I talk to people all the time and they'll say, oh, like I saw your podcast on such and such, and like congratulations to you, and we doing all the same thing. We all doing the same thing. So my whole thing is we all doing the same thing. If anything, we should embrace each other and as peers. But like once you start putting yourself in a position of where like you feel like you are, your back is a little straight. I was like,
some people, you like that's a fact. It's
a fact. But let someone else recognize you though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying is that when you have to pad your own back, I'm not saying it's not a real thing, because it is a real thing. But if it's a real thing, you ain't gotta speak it. To me, like have some humility, have some like be humble about it, because you're gonna go much further and do better things based off how people see you, not so much about how you see yourself. That's just me. That's how I was raised, country boy. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't.
And but like again, in all fairness, of course I didn't say the person's name. You wouldn't know like the person, but I'm not saying their name. But I understand what they were saying. They weren't running around town, hey, I'm a local celebrity. It wasn't like that. They were basing this upon the feedback from people. And they were just kind of like telling me as a way to, like, it was a relate, like you get like,
validation.
Like because of the way people's response to that person and what they perceive as how people respond to me. And I'm just telling the story because it's still, I was just like, I don't like, I just don't identify with that because I don't feel that way. When I look at, I don't know, maybe because I'm comparing myself to other people in the community. I'm like, that's more of a celebrity. Everybody knows these people. And I don't know, like, it's just.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I agree with them. I mean, I agree with them.
I mean, I just do what I can do in the community, and I, link up with or people that want to link up to do stuff. I mean, that's just how I'm here to help, like in the ways that I can.
Yeah,
I'm here to be of service to the community in the best ways, whether it's throwing a party, whether it's having a panel discussion about mental health, whether it's me showing up to support, looking fabulous. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
I am. That's what I want. I want to be of service and,
Got you. All right. 3 more here.
Okay.
Childhood celebrity crush.
Ooh, Ralph Tresvant. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Ralph Tresvant.
Really?
Yeah, I used to like. I have plenty of them, but that's the first things that don't think it just popped up because
okay.
Albie Shore was one too.
You said Albie Shore? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you showing your age. I thought she was younger than that.
What? So I'm old, man.
You might be older than me.
I am older than you. Aren't you just 40?
Nope. You're 40?
You're not 40?
I ain't 40 yet.
I'm over 40.
Not yet. I'm not yet. I'm close. I'm on my way though. You over 40 though?
Ain't that funny?
Yeah, you don't look it. You got me. I get
discriminated. I think I'm gonna tell you something, Randy. And I think it's sidetracked, so I know we got to wrap up. I do feel like from some of my peers, and this is a real thing, I've been discriminated against because they think that I even though when I say peers, it's like, yo, you're only a year older or year two, because their perception is that I represent younger stuff. I'm not appropriate for their whatever they have going on. Isn't that crazy?
It's ignorant.
And I'm like,
they need to bring themselves down. Like they probably representing they killing themselves by making themselves older than they really are.
I mean, they're their age, but what they're making, they perceive me as younger. It's not about them being older, but they perceive me as being younger, as if I don't have anything to add. I represent young people stuff to whatever they have going on. So they stay in. They deal with. I feel like I don't represent the status quo enough for some of my peers. If you feel me,
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm not like, I call myself, like, I think I still have it on Twitter, Queen of the Underground. I feel like I do stuff on the underground.
I think that labels and numbers can conceal more than they reveal. I probably say that every day. Say it every day. The labels and numbers can conceal more than they reveal. So it's like people get caught up in titles, people get caught up in numbers, and they miss it.
Caught up in associations.
You said associations?
Yeah, like who you're friends with.
Yeah,
who you
for sure.
It's just that type of stuff. So I think, like, a lot of times in this Richmond setting, I feel a little like I'm not a part of I know the scene, but I'm not all the way a part of the scene. Yeah. And it may appear that I don't feel that I'm a part of it. Because I just gave you an example. That's a real conversation I've had with somebody. And I was like, huh? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I don't, we cool. I don't,
yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. No,
I'm your age. Like, you're just making up stuff.
And it could also be some lightweight hate. It could be some lightweight jealousy. Like, you can embrace the fact that you can reach people up, but you can also reach people down. Yeah. That's an asset. That's an asset.
It is an asset, but
they just being an ass. And so, everyone has to have one. Everyone has to have one.
I think, yeah, do your thing.
I got two more questions. Let me see where I want to go with it. All right. While we're on Richmond a little bit, can you we're gonna end it this way. Two questions. Give a shout out. And I want you to give a shout out. I want to represent both genders here, okay? Both sexes. Can you give a shout out to a male and a female that you feel like is just very deserving of recognition and respect and love? And they may not always get it like they deserve. And it can't be Ray Vaughn on the male side. You just can't be.
Can't be Ray Vaughn. I didn't even get to get into my Ray Vaughn love moment.
You can't. No, I want to go IG live with you before we put this out there.
All right.
So we can do that. I want to do that and kind of process. And after we've had this conversation, we can process and then rediscuss the conversation and bring people into it. We can promote that another day.
I would have to say when a male, my friend, Dr. Chaz Barrick, I think some people know.
He was on the show.
Yeah, that's right. He was. But you and Tiffany was doing the thing. I think that's when I really wanted to be on the show. I was like, wait a minute. When I was like, you got Tiffany on here? I want to be on the show now. And I said, you got Chaz? You got Chaz, you can have me. I want to be on the show too.
That would have been a good show to have you all together.
I would say Chaz. I do recognize people do know him, but I think that he could be a little bit more known. He his work in this community, like as far as his art and what he puts out, is magnificent. How he's not from Richmond, but how he loves and shouts out Black Richmond and all the things Black, I think is absolutely beautiful. And his intelligence and what he represents for his community, the LGBTQIA community, is absolutely important. So he's a person that I think as a man stands out to me. A woman that I think does not get enough flowers. I would have to say, so I do a project called the Style Effect. We didn't talk about that. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. I have a project. It's a grant funded community-based project called Style Effect, where I use fashion as a way to educate about mental health. So matter of fact, Big Rich, I interviewed him recently. I did a series of 5 interviews. He was my most recent one. And we talked about his sneaker addiction. So we talked about his childhood trauma and how that contributed to his current sneaker addiction. So I just have those types of interviews, people that's involved with style in some aspect. Anyway, so in order for me to have this project, I had to partner with a nonprofit organization, and I partnered with Sean Rail Blackwell, and her nonprofit organization is Education Community Academy. And I want to shout her out because she's been instrumental in doing her part, the fiscal responsibilities and the meetings, and her just supporting me. And because I'm like the artist curator of the project, but supporting some of my ideas and, you know, bringing me back to center when I'll go off left and want to include all these different people. And she'll keep me focused. So I have to shout her out because a lot of people, she also is co-owner of Avail Counseling with Tangi Moore. Well,
what's the name again?
Sean Rail Blackwell.
Oh yeah, I know who she is.
Dr. Sean Rail Blackwell.
Yeah, I know who she is.
She's also, you know, we from Petersburg. She grew up with me in Petersburg.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that part, but she was a woo-woo.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
The woo-woo. So it's, you know, being able to like circle back and work with, you know, people from my community where I grew up. We have an understanding like that. Being from Petersburg too, women will the conversations that we have about our environment, the things we were exposed to, just our lifestyle, and then we also recently found out that we share a cousin. That's a whole other story, but I don't think, you know, a lot of people know her. She's kind of low key, but I have to shout her out because of what she's done with ECA in the community with children, and just how she definitely has helped me build, and what she does for Avail Counseling. And yeah, she's dope.
That's what's up, man. I really appreciate you being able, be able to kind of shed light on other people, using the opportunity to speak for them. I'll tell you, I really enjoyed my conversation with Chaz. I did. And I'll say this, it happened at a very interesting time. And not so much in the conversation with him directly, but the conversations that were occurring around that time. I will say Dr. Jana, she played a contributing role at helping me personally. It spanned my mind in areas when it came to like how I don't know, you know, I'll use it to you like this. I've always been a person who respects all people, right?
Yeah.
And I used to say things like, this is a growth moment for me. I used to say things like, I don't care what they are. Meaning if I'm identifying someone who's like homosexual or whatnot, like that's cool, whatever. Like my way of identifying it and saying that I didn't care was meaning like, that's cool. What they are or what they're not, it don't really have an impact on me. And not really realizing, you know, how insensitive to even saying I don't care could imply.
It's almost like I don't see color. It's the same concept.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, and Chaz, he wasn't the person who was like in the conversation, but we had conversations around that. It was a really awkward time because like the way you just said it, like it is just like saying, I don't see color. I'm telling you, and I can speak to that community and saying that I didn't recognize how ignorant I sounded. I didn't. Like it wasn't intentional. It really
don't know.
I mean, as much as I thought I did know, and I do, and let me just say this, and I still think I did know, but because it's like one of those things where I feel like, you know, we have to be mindful and sensitive enough to knowing what matters to others, regardless of how it applies to us. No, I never have had issues. I have a significant percentage of my family that, you know, are gay, like a lot of them. And like, I personally, you know, have like tendencies and behaviors that could be perceived as like different. You know what I'm saying? They could be like, I cross my legs. I do a lot of feminine stuff, like a lot. Not, it's just, you know, it's who I am. I'm full man, but I do things that can be perceived as like, oh, you know, he shouldn't be doing that. And it don't bother me in regard to how people feel about what I should or shouldn't do, because I'm confident in who I am, right? Yeah. So like, but I didn't recognize like how insensitive, you know, I sounded when I would say, I don't care. That's not my issue. And I caught myself fighting an issue that really wasn't my issue until I just had to come to a place and embrace and allow myself to really hear it from another perspective and understand that people who are LGBTQ have been experiencing trauma unlike just like Black people. You know what I'm saying? Forever. And I ain't never looked at it that way.
And then you add on
And then that on being black. Yeah, they add that on to it.
That's a whole other nuance and layer. And the attitude, I don't care what you are, it's dismissive too, right? It's like almost kind of laziness.
Yeah.
It matters because it matters down to how the person wants to be addressed. Just because they may appear as a she, they may want to be addressed as they or them, right?
Yeah. I put it in my signature now in my email. Like I'm he, him, and his. I'm like, but I put it because I'm trying to identify and make people recognize.
Yeah, and then also just things like some people just make the assumption, like old school, make the assumption that, okay, I physically see you appear to be a man. I just assume that you date women or are married to a woman, those types of things. So it matters. It absolutely matters.
So as I bring this up, I say that to I believe in moments where you can be vulnerable and expose yourself so that people can recognize you're human. You should. And that was a major. I went through a time there where I had to apologize to folks. I really did. I called, it didn't hit me at the immediate moment. I didn't get it. But the more I recognize, I'm late in 2021 recognizing, and it goes back to just years, from me in my life and development. How did I get there? I used to have very strong views, and I still have some views. Don't get me wrong, but I used to look at I used to struggle in understanding how a person could claim to be, fit under a certain title, from a biblical, spiritual standpoint, leaders in churches or whatever the case is. But I'm looking at them and I'm saying you're clearly dealing with some things, or am I? Now I gotta say, or am I? Because I used to struggle with that. How are you gonna sit up there and be ministering God's word and speaking all these things, but it's pretty apparent that everything ain't straight with you. Well, everything ain't straight with me. So who am I to judge you? You know what I'm saying? You chose that life. I didn't. You have the choice to do your. So it was a very opening moment, and I bring that all up because of everything that was going on at that time. I never really made a strong investment. It really, I told you a few minutes ago, I build relationships through the podcast, offline. I kind of went through a moment there where I called Dr. John, and I don't have a problem saying, and I apologize. I said, you know what? I didn't recognize where I was at, and doing those series of interviews with her and some of the guests, it really exposed a place with me that has contributed to a lot of progress. Like I said, I identify now by pronouns. I never identified by no pronouns before. What you mean? It just wasn't me. But I do it out of respect of letting those who those pronouns mean something more to recognize. No, I have nothing but respect for you. Now, flip side, right? Let's switch it real quick. And we haven't talked about this, and maybe this is another conversation we can have. But I have a lot of friends that are gay. Okay, a lot of friends. Some of them, and they don't even identify with the modern day pride movement. Or even be identified as LGBTQ. They're like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? I don't even feel comfortable when people talk like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's another perspective of conversation. That's a whole nother conversation.
I had some clients that I've interacted with, and they was just like, it's weird. They have all these biases and prejudices within their own community. It's bizarre. Yeah. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. I don't like the ones that's all loud and I hear that all the time. All these letters, and I'm not going to no pride parade. And
what are your pronouns, Mecca?
She, her.
She and her.
Mm-hmm.
She, her. I'm he and him. Is his a pronoun?
It's a possessive.
And then I'm possessive. Pronoun. I'm possessive then. I need to make sure. Do I need to change my signature line?
Last years, I think it has to possessive.
I just need to make sure that my signature ain't looking ignorant because I'm saying he, him, and his. Because they may be like, yo, he's trying too hard.
Have I ever seen he? Wait a minute. That's when you say his. I don't know. Sorry. No, that she, her, and hers? Is that think about it, Red. It's like we put she, her, and hers.
Yo, I gotta take it off. I'm gonna take it off tonight.
Yo, I need you to go look at other people's bios, yo. He, him, and he. I was like, yeah.
Yo, I'm trying too hard. Let me get
He's doing the most. He, him, thou, out, they.
Nah, I'm not doing they, all right.
I
don't want to confuse anybody, all right. Like if I put they out there, they might get confused.
I'm he and him. I am I, he, him, his.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. Yo, listen, no disrespect. You know, we just trying to work on our English. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this is not our native language, okay? So we just working. We just trying to get it right.
Yeah, so like it's difficult for me, and you know, as a therapist too. Like you have to really be intentional when somebody wants to be referenced as they and them.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Like I butcher it. I'm the worst.
It's our conditioning, you know, but it has to happen. It's that we gotta adapt to them. They don't have to adapt to us. We need to get with it. But it's just a retraining of the brain.
Yo, it's hard to retrain something that you've been doing for like, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard.
We can do it.
I don't know. I've had several conversations with Rebecca Kill.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Rebecca, I just avoid. Like
huh?
I said, sometimes with Rebecca, I just avoid. I just like Rebecca.
Oh yeah, I mess up every time. She'll correct me.
They.
She'll correct. Yeah. They will correct me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like I'm like, man, I gotta go back to school. For real, it's almost like a whole new education. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really get it. But
yeah, we got it. We have to do this. Like, and this is a changing of the time. This is what it is right now. We got to get with it, Randy.
I got to get my signature on because I've been messing. I just think about having professional spaces. I have been looking so ignorant in like with this here. I was trying too hard, man.
Hold on, Randy. It's like they, them, those.
I'm going to my settings right now. I'm gonna get that thing straight. You're like, man, this guy ignorant. His title is executive director, and he's sitting up here saying he is. Hey. Well, listen, I'm honest. Okay, brutally. I never said I was right. Just said I was honest from my perspective.
I love it. It's like,
look, we're gonna go on IG soon. Okay.
When you want to do it? Just let me know.
Closer to the release. Closer. Okay. Yeah, close. Okay. Probably about a week next week.
Okay. Any more questions? What else you want to know? Or you want to save it for the
I'm gonna save it because I want to process all this. I want to process. That's gonna be a conversation though, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. You talking about the live?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go there. And I'm gonna promote it.
You said you want me to say my Ray Vaughn shout out for the live, right?
Well, yeah, because we got it. You can do it now if you want to. But
shout out to DJ Ray Vaughn. I rock with DJ Ray Vaughn. I can talk on and on about like just he's another one. Like Ray Vaughn is tapped in and tuned in to people, and he is a motivator. He's an encourager. I have nothing but love and respect for Ray Vaughn. And then the way that he invited Dom and I in, like when he had the idea for 200 and he was just like, hey, like he reached out, he saw what we were doing, our own thing with Style and Spirits, and he made the move. And he could have chose anybody. Well, not anyone, but he had an idea of what we were bringing and what we were doing. He wanted something different. And then it was just an organic relationship.
He's the best DJ of his era.
That's another thing. He's a talented DJ, hands down.
Best DJ of his era in his area of expertise. Now, I say that because I'm talking about rocking a party. You know what I'm saying? Like
they don't make like him no more.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with him as so much like in the DJ. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying DJ. I ain't talking about music producer. I think he probably got the skills, but I'm just saying DJ. He can what he do for a party. Yeah, and he can do it on the mic.
That's what I'm saying. They don't make him like that. The fact he is the mic, he's the gift of the mic, the host. He has the turns. He's a turntablist. His transitions are flawless. Like he's just a skilled. His ear for music. He's a watcher. This I always joke with him. I always tell him he's just undiagnosed ADHD, but I think that comes in handy him DJing because he can pay attention to the crowd. He does all of the things. And then he still has energy to be polite and kind to people that he interacts with at these parties.
Yeah, so, but I'm glad he posted recently. He said, "Hey, listen, when I'm DJing, my pet peeve is you trying to have a conversation with me."
I watch it. They because he's so friendly, so people want to dap him up and they want him to know that they're there. You know how it goes.
Yeah,
but. A little aggravated, but he still, gives people time and attention. And that always like, how do you do this? But he understands he understands the business side of DJing. I think I've talked to Rayvon in detail about how, because he's younger. Like, how do you learn? Because his parents are heavily into music, and I think he just learned from like the old school DJs. And his parents are from New York too, so he has a different type of influence. So he captured all of the elements.
I think I'm glad he made that post. Because I needed to hear that. Personally.
You're so stupid.
For real, no, I'm bad for that. Like I'm bad for that though. Like I always.
Hey, you gonna carry a conversation?
No, I ain't gonna carry a conversation, but I always go greet and typically go show some form of respect to DJs, and like I don't never like bear. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's talking about people try to hold whole conversation.
No, I'm not trying to hold no whole conversation, but I think it was good for me to hear it from the standpoint of just knowing that, like, look. Be mindful that they're trying. It's another area. It's another area being woke. It's another moment. That's the area being woke. Identifying as his is another area. Like I'm learning through all these things. I'm gonna take that his off tonight though. But don't. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Hey, that's a joke. That's a joke. I don't care if you run with it. I'm gonna tell like, man. But you know what though? I mean, seriously, when I put his on there, I think I went to the Google. I went to the Google and I looked at, how it's on there, but I ain't never seen nobody else say his though.
I don't think I have seen, because think about it, if you say they, them, those, right? Or she, hers. It's the same. Isn't that the same concept?
See, English ain't my native language.
Okay.
I'm still learning English. It's not my
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started about, like, that's another thing about showing up with and not code switching.
Yeah, I mean
that's important.
That's a whole nother thing, yeah, because I'm getting better at it, but I ain't gonna lie. That's been a whole nother thing. It's like you got to almost uncondition yourself from that. I feel like 2021 is kind of making it more and more apparent. Like we're able now to really be who we are, though. We're getting there.
I never code switched, Rand. I think
you've never code switched.
I know. I don't know how to do it.
Well, I can't.
Most have the high pitchedness and like maybe enunciate a little bit more. That's about all.
No, I know I have. I'm not even in the front. Like I've lobbied. I've been a lobbyist.
Different. Didn't you go to school in Southwest Virginia? Something like.
Man, Southwest Virginia gave me a whole 4-year education on white people, though. Like, and I am extremely appreciative of it, though, because. Yeah, it did. So I lobbied here, though. I lobbied in the General Assembly for a few years. Earlier in my Richmond career of work, and if I didn't have that 4-year education and knowing how to work with folks, I didn't go to. Yeah, it was good. It was good. You know what I'm saying? I thought for a minute that I might even get into politics. I was like, oh, I got out fast enough to realize, no, never could do that. Never would do that. Could I do that? You can do anything you want to do. Never would do it though, just because there ain't a party for me. There's no party for me. I'm pro business.
Facts.
Now, I will say this, but I will say I'm struggling. Now, this is the thing. So you can be pro-business when you're single. I am pro-business though, but I'm not. But when it comes to politics and you have a family and you have two incomes that contribute to how your lifestyle, you got to start. That's where I'm learning right now that I can say I'm pro-business all I want. And I am. Because if it makes intelligent sense and it makes financial sense, I'm supported.
Yeah.
But now you have to make, I believe now that because I'm married, like I got to make decisions that kind of lie on family's benefit and how we generate income. And so you end up having to pick a majority side because you only dealing with two parties. That don't mean I'm talking about when you vote. If you vote, you have to pick. You have to pick a side. It ain't but two sides, or maybe three if it's independent.
I did a write-in, and people probably go die if they hear this because people like our people like, oh my God, Biden and Kamala, and I'm like,
no, don't get me wrong.
That's okay. But
I do the same thing.
Important to vote in local elections, but I like as far as the presidency, I did a write-in. I'm gonna be completely honest because I don't see where either party is representing the interests of Black people, because I'm worried about my own personal interest, but also the interest of the community.
I write in too. Don't get me wrong. I write in. I voted for myself on a many of a time because I believe I could do better.
And that's just what it was. I
wrote Kanye in. I wrote Kanye in for a local. I wrote Kanye in for a local spot. Can we bring him over here?
You love Kanye too? What's your thought?
My thoughts on Kanye?
Well, that's a whole other.
He crazy. He crazy.
I
love Kanye. I love old Kanye better.
I think Kanye is struggling with the symptoms of bipolar disorder, as he's already told this world that he was diagnosed, but then he untold the world. So I think what you see is a unmedicated person that is struggling with bipolar disorder,
with a lot of money,
with
a lot of ego,
a lot of You add those ingredients together. However, he's managed with his creativity and his I don't give a fuck attitude, he has managed to become one of the richest people right now in hip hop. Mm-hmm. What is he like? He's number one, like with billionaire status.
I saw something about $6 billion. I don't know if I don't think he's bigger than Hove, but I mean,
salute.
I'm supportive.
A person that means so much to me. A person that struggles with a mental health disorder, right? Yeah. A Black man. And a Black man that goes against the grain consistently, like he does what he wants to do, and to make it to that status, Kanye does not allow the world to dictate to him what he should be doing and what he needs to do and all this other type of stuff. He goes by what he wants to do as far as his creativity, and it works.
And one of the things I'm gonna stop doing, again, I said it a couple weeks ago as it pertains to women, but I'm saying it today as it pertains to people. I'm not going to be the one that's going to publicly shame or talk derogatory or negative about our people. We got issues just like all people, but we don't need to be the ones speaking negatively about our people, because the media, when I say we, I mean us who identify individually in recognizing that it's just not beneficial for the culture.
No, it's not.
Black people are going to do it. White people are going to do it. The media are going to do it. It's going to happen. But those who identify and recognize that it's not going to do anything in uplifting, then that's the we I'm speaking for. So I'm not even speaking this as it pertains to a culture of people. Just those who are aware and recognizing, like, let's not do it.
Yeah, it's unhealthy. It's absolutely unhealthy, and it's unnecessary. So, and I'm not about that. I have my thoughts on other people that I'm like, that's egregious tax or whatever. But Kanye, I just didn't get people's outrage about Kanye. I'm like, that's when I started to realize, I'm gonna be honest. So like when I did my Tangent, I did the very first mental health panel about Black people, just educating Black people about the myths in our culture surrounding mental health. That was 2018. It's kicked off because I was sick and tired of people's comments about Kanye. I was over it. So I reached out, put it out in the gram, like, hey, any clinicians want to partner with me to do a panel discussion? Tangi responded back, and that's just how we did our first in-person panel discussion at the library on Belmont. Boom, packed out. It started with Kanye, and that's another way, like how I tied in hip hop, like my love for hip hop into what I do, because it was ridiculous. I was appalled with people's ignorance about his behaviors and all sorts of stuff, and then canceling him. And I'm just like, what? It's so many people that do worse, molest kids, all sorts of stuff. So y'all fall apart over some words. Like it's like the self-righteousness of us, some of us.
I want to see him and Hove come together and do another.
They probably will.
What was it? Thrones album, Thrones project. We need one more. We need one more Thrones.
I think they'll be back. I mean, they love each other.
That's my favorite artist of all time.
Who, Hove?
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah, I can see that.
By far.
Hove is. He might be. He's not my
Black Jesus. Black Jesus.
The top MC of all, all time.
Ever.
And I don't say that, like, I mean, he's not my favorite. I got my own personal favorites, but as far as when I look at the whole total picture, it's him. He is it.
And he married her.
She, hers.
Yeah, he married her. He married she.
Queen B, yes, absolutely.
She be.
Top tier Queen B, doing her thing. Speaking of top tier, like, are you from? That's a whole other topic. I meant to bring this up about this whole, when you talk about Black people in relationships, this thing with that dude Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with all of that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Where are you going with it?
I think it's damaging. And I'm not gonna blame him. I'm concerned about our people who buy into the messaging. I think he does what he does, right? Like, I think Kevin Samuels' purpose is he's a matchmaker. He saw some statistics about these women want these type of men want these type of women. Okay, let me advise everybody. I get what he's doing, but some of these people look at him as the holy grail of relationships, and it's scary.
Chuck Woolery.
Yes, he's talking to a certain demographic, and it seems to be more Black men buying into this. And I'm like, whoa. This, when you talk about have value really is about your personal integrity, how you move in your purpose, how you serve in this life. Not like this extra stuff. Money comes and goes. Looks will fade. You know, you do the best you can. Personal integrity will have you keeping yourself together, you know, from a physical standpoint. But it's so much more to dealing with a person that I would consider have value. And I don't know what this have value, all that terminology, but we're going to go by that. It has nothing to do with how much money you make. And I thought it's scary that I'm hearing so many brothers buy into that rhetoric.
Yeah.
And they're not working on any. So we already in a do product, produce culture as it is. So it's scary to me that they are buying, like, oh, all I gotta do is make this money and go to the gym. Sir, pump your brakes. You may need to do some other things too, some healings. Be a man of your word. Build your character up too.
Gratification. I mean, it's like it's what is, you know, what everyone is motivated and inspired by different things, and like it goes back to ego. It just goes back to ego, self-gratification.
It's ego. So that's his popularity scares me for Black people, because then how he talks to Black women on his platform that's overweight or not a certain height or whatever the case is, it's scary.
Yeah. I think that if enough people had the perspective that as you do, and I share that as well, and we really championed that and we made that a focus, we could tear it down. But society and the media is not built that way, because right now he's getting more attention based off, you know, being being radical and expressive about everything. But it would take an army of people to kind of defeat him and get the attention of the mass media to, to bring that niggatry down.
I
You heard me. You heard I said it right. It's
mean,
niggatry. It's negativity.
it's complete negativity, but
No, negativity.
it's, again, it ain't about him. It's kind of like, he reminds me of, like, not saying he's Trump, but like how the world was falling apart. Trump, we're so scared. Actually, Trump is exposing the people that buy into him. It's showing me what's really out there. That's how I feel about Kevin Samuels. I understand Kevin Samuels. He has his place in the ecosystem. I understand his messaging, what it's about, but I'm concerned with the people that feed into this.
If you see this man,
yeah,
if you see this man, I want you to call your local police. Call 911 and report him. Report him for his ignorance.
You see this man and you're buying into the
report him for his suit. Report him for his suit.
He said report him for his suit. So yeah, I'm concerned about the brothers and sisters. I've had people, really, women, come on, like, as far as in therapy sessions, like, really get upset about, them feeling like, okay, maybe Kevin Samuels is right, questioning that stuff. I've had this happen several times. And so again, it's scary, it's damaging. I don't pay attention to him because I'm not looking for that. That's not the messaging. I don't buy into it. And I never thought like that. I was never a woman that was like, oh, my man got to make this amount of money. And I was never like that, because I was very clear on, I take care. I know how to take care of myself. I'm looking for other things. I was already on that trajectory. But so he wasn't talking to me. I wasn't aware of it. It was like the social media brought him to my awareness, and I still don't really pay attention to him. But I gotta address it because he got traction in our community.
What you got to do is use your privilege, not just you, but people. You know what I'm saying? You got to use the privilege that we have based off knowledge and self-worth.
With understanding the self-worth facts.
Yeah, it's basically knowledge of self in itself, but we got to use that privilege that we have within our community. That's it. The same thing that we tell white people from the standpoint of use your privilege to help those who you can connect with, to be aware of things that maybe they're not. We as Black people got to do the same thing, even within our own community, with the niggatry and the negativity. And as my teacher, the good brother, Minister Louis Farrakhan, has taught us to, you know what I'm saying? He said it. I really am a big fan of him. I don't study it like that, but I listen to him. I listen to him a lot. And I believe that's just what it is. It's like, it's bad that we have to educate our own folks with, on behalf of things within our own culture. But the truth of it is that everybody is not your brother. Just because everyone is not they're not.
They're not kinfolk.
Everybody ain't kinfolk. No, I'm not kin to him. I'm not kin to that. I'm not.
Listen, I do my when he comes up, I give my spiel when it comes up, especially with men. So I do what I can, but I try. It's hard. I have to be careful. I cannot focus on that because it's so appalling to me. Mm-hmm. The reaction that people have to him is it's absolutely appalling. Like, you buy into this stuff. This is what you buy. Like, this is what you think all you need to do, or all your woman needs to look. This is it. This is just it. It's ridiculous. It's absolute ridiculousness.
And you know what I've seen these guys do, people like him, they identify with, like, they connect with, like, beautiful women, beautiful models, right? Who have big platforms, and they'll get on their platform. You know what I'm saying? And they'll pay them a lot of money to do so. I've seen it with some ministers as well. They'll get on these mega model, Instagram models platforms. They got 1 million, 2 million followers. They'll get on their live and they will talk their crap, right? And they'll pick up a percentage of that following because the model is allowing them on their platform to just breed that stuff within their whole, demographic that follows them. And that's how it spreads. It spreads like cancer. It does. And, like, you ain't really listening to the interview because of him. This is what I'm seeing happen with social media.
Yeah.
But you benefit by getting knowledge and information and awareness that you wouldn't have had because you're tuned into her. And that's even happening with men. So, but yo, Mecca, I could keep going, but we're gonna have to reschedule this. I got a 7:30. Not reschedule. We got to schedule another. If we're going live on Instagram, I want to do that for sure.
All right, hit me up.
And this conversation is only going to open up. We open up a lot of things. It's going to open up a lot. That conversation might even, who knows where that's going to go. But I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for being number 69. I didn't set it up that way.
Bye, Randy. Good night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.